All right, recording in progress. Excellent. Beautiful. Well, welcome, my gorgeous, powerful, everyday women of the world. If this required editing, you know that I won't do it. And that's just part, well, seriously, Kristina, it's part of being an everyday woman. I don't have time. Got a lot going on. Just want to get it done, be real, be messy and imperfect, but of high value. So that's a slightly adapted but very applicable pre-intro to the show. So you guys know the drill. You've been listening for a while. You're joining me on the Startup Stories podcast today, where the ambitious woman, the ambitious everyday woman, is heard, held, and served in life and business. And I'm your host, Mia Frankel of Powerful Inc., the everyday woman's coach for living a peaceful and productive life. On this show, you'll hear relatable stories to keep you sane, grounded, and growing as you expand yourself and deliver your purpose to the world. Today, I have a phenomenal guest that I'm really, really excited to talk to because she's done so many cool things and built a business that aligns a lot with my heart and my vision of collaboration, whole human healing, and safe spaces for people to really be seen and to accept parts of themselves that maybe they felt never fit somewhere. So Kristina Scaglione is a licensed and clinical social worker and the innovative founder of Root and Rise Clinical Specialists and Limitless Integrative Wellness, home of the Mind Spa. When I was researching Kristina, here's what I found. She likes to collaborate and she likes to create something that is very holistic as a business practice and as an environment for clients to be served in. And so you've created these two models, business models, that bring other partners in order to serve people and hold them in a way that they can go deeper than they might in like a one-on-one practice or other more traditional models. Fair, Kristina?
That's fair.
And so we're going to dive into some of those and see how Kristina became a woman who could hold this and where the vision started to get planted in redefining traditional self-care by treating your mind as your most valuable asset, and then bringing in financial health and creating lasting balance. Kristina has done some really cool things in her lifetime so far, including earning her Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice from the Northeastern University, where she co-developed youth gang intervention programs, LGBTQIA+ mentoring services, and suicide hotline, and then obtained her master's from Stony Brook University, focusing on macro social work, psychopharmacology, which you can tell us what that is if you feel like it mixes into the fold, cognitive behavioral therapy, and crisis intervention. These are some very rich and very deep subjects. And I really am curious about like the criminology aspect and the story of all of how all of this came through and why healing in this way. So let's dive into your story and who you are, the woman behind the business, and come share your heart with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Mia. It's
Yeah,
I don't think we have enough time for the entire evolution.
never do.
But what I can say is as a private practice clinician, I have always incorporated multiple facets of someone's healing. So originally, when I went into graduate school, my first internship was in a forensic setting. So I did work with a mandated population, and it's a lot more. It's technically still one-to-one and sometimes group, but it was a little rigid in what we were capable of providing because it was mandated by the courts. So when I was able to transition out of that type of setting, I enjoyed it, but I wanted to do a little bit more, have a little bit more freedom, creative liberty in how I was treating clients. And you don't really have that in that kind of setting. So transferring over to a different private practice model, starting to take classes. This is all before COVID. So it's taking online classes for additional credentials and different models of treatment, like some of the things you might have read that I specialize in is dialectical behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, advanced holistic counseling, EFT, which is nicknamed tapping.
Mhm.
So I did all these different trainings and I started to incorporate them in my one-to-one practices with my clients. And I noticed that even with all of these fun bells and whistles, I wanted to offer more. So I started to network with other people in the community that were in the
Mhm.
holistic realm. And I started to establish relationships with those business owners. And in hopes that if this came up in conversation in my one-to-ones with my clients, that I could refer them to the people that I personally knew, that I
Mhm.
trusted, that I worked with, that I knew did good work for whatever topic. It could be personal
Right.
training, it could be nutrition, hypnosis, anything that fell into that umbrella of energy work or otherwise. Even, you know, lawyers or financial advisors, people. I mean, I collaborated and networked across the board, not just holistic providers. But fast forward to COVID, we didn't have access to, the normal system of what we had access to in our country. I think
Right.
we all experienced, the shutdown
Mhm.
differently. But
Mhm.
what I experienced as a private practice clinician during that time was trying to redefine what therapy could look like. I
Yeah.
mean, it was the first time that we had, as a clinician for myself, it was the first time that we had to properly get into a hybrid model, meaning we had to have a lot of HIPAA compliance that we didn't have to explore before because we were
Yeah.
mostly in person. So for a year, I'm practicing virtually, and I wanted to provide obviously safety and comfort, but also certainty. And we don't always have certainty, especially during that time.
Mhm.
So, what I was able to help create was, I guess I could consider it a network of women
Yeah.
who were all feeling that burden of having to be, you know, your kid's teacher, your personal chef, your housekeeper,
Mhm.
your business owner, your
Mhm.
friend, your mother, your partner, your spouse. Like we had all the titles before, but now we had them all truncated into, never leaving the house. So so I feel like there was a new version of compassion fatigue that
Mm.
I was experiencing during that time that really helped me reevaluate how I was delivering therapy. And
Mhm.
so, okay, so 2021, 2022, around that time, I started to think about how I could just have this is going to date myself, but how do I have a Rolodex of people where I
That
could
word was
just,
already coming out, so thank you for using it. I love that word.
they should bring those back.
Yes.
So I wanted to create you know, a, an integrative approach to bring therapy out of what we understand it to be. So outside of the square on your screen or
Yeah.
outside of the treatment room that you might sit with me in. So fast forward, I was able to find a building
Mhm.
where I was able to have people come in and work with other clinicians, work with other clients, do workshops, groups, collaboration events, networking events, things like that, that allowed more than just myself as a
Yeah.
private practice clinician to come in and assist. I mean, I have private practice clinicians from all over the area that utilize Limitless, and some of them will collaborate with Root and Rise as well. So we just started to lean into what it would feel like to have a treatment team that was personally modeled for each person that might come in with a different situation or different or even their model could evolve as they went through their treatment. So perhaps they came in for one thing and then they discovered they needed something else towards the middle. Now I have an entire database of women that, and outside of that too, if you needed something more practical, like, a real estate agent, we also have people that we can refer to for that. But if we're
Right.
saying with the holistic model, we have so many different providers that are both in person, hybrid, or virtual only, that are accessible to anyone that comes through our doors. So whether or not you're a Root and Rise client or you're a Limitless client, there's some overlap.
Mhm. This is really, I just want to draw
Excuse
out
me.
a few things that you recognized a need and then started to collect for your own benefit to enhance your practice. And it grew into this more, again, holistic version of providing deep support. And you guys, I just want you to picture having to go to, say, five different services, which means finding five different providers in five different places, and traveling, to each different location to receive
Yeah.
those needs versus coming to a one-stop shop and having people in the industry, like Kristina and your partners, who can find other practitioners to those more specific needs, right?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
because if I'm like Joe Ordinary, I'm not going to necessarily have the industry knowledge or savvy of knowing who's who and who's sort of has more integrity than someone else to come in. So there's some um, credential checking and
Yes.
edifying that can happen through a system like this, and that is a beautiful reciprocal win-win model of like taking care of the client in a holistic way and having a very holistic service that does that too. So what was it like this just unfolding naturally where you thought, oh, I'm going to open up a center and bring all of this together? Because you could have just kind of, oh, well, here, go to this person over here, go to this person over here.
Yes. And that's how it was before I was able to find the space. So there's a couple things at play for myself at least. I like to practice what I preach, which
Hmm.
if I'm going to send you to somebody that I'm recommending, I've gone to them myself or I have
Hmm.
utilized their services to some capacity, whether it was
Why'd we freeze?
part that I want to emphasize is I want people to be able to take what resonates and leave the rest. So not
Hmm.
every single thing that I might offer resonates with that client. And the best part about the people that I'm referring them to, they're not trying to sell them something. So
Right.
they're not trying to bring them into their practice because I referred them. It's totally a free consultation every time. And if it doesn't resonate, they may have somebody that they can, you know, maybe choose from in the collective or otherwise that'll, well,
Hmm.
this might not fit what you're looking for, but I think this person might be able to help you. And that was my experience during COVID is, when I was trying to manage some autoimmune diseases that were percolating during that time, I was able to go to some clinicians and say, like, this is what I think is happening. This is what my intuition is telling me.
Hmm.
Some of them were able to help me on the spot. Some of them were like, I don't know how I can assist, but I know someone who can. And so that's kind of how it evolved as I went on the journey first.
Yeah.
And then I started to, refer to those individuals. And at the time when this was really developing, we weren't able to go to people's offices. So this was, you didn't have to technically go to multiple places. You had to make multiple appointments, but they were all on the screen. And when the world opened up again, before I could find a space, it was kind of like going back and forth on different parts of the island where we lived for
Hmm.
people to find services. When I was able to find a space, people are coming down here to work and collaborate with the clients that they're being referred, and they also have their own offices.
Hmm.
So they've kept their own businesses and they maintain their own businesses as they want to or as they, desire. And if a client lives closer to where that person's office is, they
Okay.
go there. And if
Yeah.
they wanted to have an appointment with me and someone else and that person was able to come down here, that's also something that happens.
Okay.
And so it's very flexible in the sense of we all understand that we're all working and we're all busy and we
Hmm.
all have multiple things that we have to get done. And oftentimes that also means that we take care of ourselves last.
Yeah.
So every single person, it just so happens that everybody is a female owned business and we just kept it that way.
Hmm.
And I think everybody understands the responsibilities and burdens of the world that we carry. So everybody is extremely accommodating. So
Hmm.
you need telehealth, you need virtual, you might not even need a visit. Let me just send you the vitamins or supplements you might need, and you can pick from that basket of what works for you or what you can afford. And everything is customized.
Yeah.
So it's not only a plug and play, it's customizable. We try to make it affordable. We try to make it easy,
Hmm.
but you're the driver.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're like a health center, like a health and well-being center. But I don't want you guys to hear that in terms of the body. I want you to hear that in terms of the whole human, which is some of the language that I've heard you
It's a
use.
community. It's
Yeah.
a community. And it's
Yeah.
because when you walk into here, it doesn't feel like you're in a center. There's
Hmm.
every room is a different type of style. There, some rooms might be more office related one-to-one consults. Another room might have a salt wall, might
Mhm.
have red light therapy, might have IV vitamin infusions. Another one might be just for massage and Reiki. And then we have a
Mhm.
group room where people can do
Mhm.
workshops that might have those big, fluffy, comfy chairs that are, I mean, you're not walking into it and sitting in a waiting room waiting for a doctor to call you. So,
Right.
it's not like that. We
Yeah.
do have concierge MD. She does a lot of virtual, but she does, house visits also. I mean, we're bringing back things that are old school because
Mhm.
they need to come back.
Yeah.
And we need to personalize our health journey. We need to take our power back in how we experience the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and not just spot treat and band-aid treat certain symptoms, but actually look
Correct.
at the full picture.
Right.
So,
And
Kristina, what was it like to become the leader and take on that responsibility to, offer this opportunity to other practitioners and again to go forward and seek a building and
yeah.
get all that set, like the costs, the marketing, the logistics, all of that.
Yes. Yes, that is all very true. How
You're
did
like,
I
okay,
take that on?
shoulders check, go.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm good with squatting, I guess. So
Yeah.
I had the luxury of working in a private setting, a private practice setting for a number of years, and I've had the benefits of seeing what my referrals would help with, like how they would enhance my client's journey. So I had a decade of experience being
Yeah.
able to see that treating the whole person is more effective than treating the symptom.
Yeah.
So all I kind of did was roll that all into a bundle and 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 ask everybody if they wanted to collaborate in a community of like-minded individuals. And I didn't have to do much after that. People were excited to collaborate with like-minded individuals. People were excited to be part of a community and a collective. And then it just took off. So
Mhm.
I didn't have to chase anybody for it. I just had to tell them what I was thinking, and everybody was like, "Say less, I'll be there."
Okay.
And now that I'm treating individuals on a regular, I mean, I was doing this anyway, but
Yeah.
now that my clients are understanding that they don't have to participate in Limitless, but they can if they want to. They meet with me inside the Limitless building. So they understand when they walk in, they see all the different things that are happening. They ask questions, they want to know more. In our sessions, I'm able to say, like, you might want to consider, if you have X, Y, and Z going on, I've got individuals that can assist you in that. Or you could go to someone that you already know does that
Mhm.
you trust or value, and it never has to be how do I want to say this, it's not, you're never pigeonholed. You
Right.
are, like, you have autonomy over how everything goes for your treatment. The only place that I would say, well, no, even my therapy is collaborative. So
Mhm.
even my treatment models and things like that are what the client brings in and what they contribute to their treatment. It only enhances what work we do together.
Yeah.
So I've never been, any of my colleagues that are going to hear this podcast later, I've never been somebody who just sits there and waits for things to occur. I'm
Right.
more of an action oriented, results driven therapist. So
Mhm.
people don't come here to just hang out on the couch behind me with a weighted blanket and go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do advertise myself as a no BS therapist, and if you wanted to experience real change in your life, then you would call me.
Yeah. Yeah. And be confronted, but held in your healing journey.
Yes, be confronted and held. Yes, I love that. I'm going to use that. Thank you so much, Mia.
Well, I mean, it's an analogy that I love to use that, when we go to the gym to fine tune our bodies, we sweat, we grunt, we might let the odd fart escape from the pressure, as I know it's happening, from the exercise. And then we might think of like soul therapy or, personality character building therapy as like you described, oh, okay, I'm going to rest here and meditate on something. No, it's the same. It's just less
Yeah,
physical and more emotional and yeah, mental to pull that stuff out. And,
yeah,
if you're not going to be confronted, you're not really going to grow. Like you have to be pushed outside your comfort zone, but
definitely,
in a safe way.
totally.
Absolutely. So
Rest and
Limitless works.
meditation is
Yeah, go
helpful too.
ahead.
Oh,
Meditation
rest and
is good
meditation
too.
is it is yeah, rest
It
and
is.
meditation it
It
is
is.
absolutely helpful, but
Yes. Yeah.
it's not something that happens in my particular office very often. But we do have providers right outside my
Of
door that can
course.
help you with both of those.
Well, yeah, calm. Anyway, with all the disclaimers of not being biased towards any type of practice. Because again, the thing that I really like about what you've created here is everything, but is something you said earlier that, you're a collaborative therapist. And so this, I really want the listeners to lean in that you're a startup, you're new in business, and you might feel like you're in competition. But what if you approached it as being in collaboration and that we all enhance what we do together? Like when I started out as online business manager, every time I'd see another one, I'd get so active. I'd be like, oh, one, there's another one of me. Sure, there'd be a small vibe of like scarcity competition, but I was more excited to find more people like me and see how we would complement each other and what we could learn from each other to create a better experience because no one has all the answers. And that's a lot of pressure and um, deceitful perfectionism to put on yourself if you think that you have to be the only one to like so-called save the world. So bringing in other people to do this together makes us better practitioners of our craft and um, brings forward like new things that we might not have seen or expected, right? So you founded Limitless and then Root and Rise came after, and you say the two dovetail with
Well,
each other.
I had a private practice before that. It was called K Scaglione Therapy, really simple
Mhm.
name. And I was able, so the way the collaboration evolved, Root and Rise clinical specialists, most of my team have currently or have had their own private practice for over a decade,
Yeah.
but they all specialize in something different. So I do the EMDR and the EFT. My co-founder Julie Stark, she's a creative therapist. So she incorporate. I know you don't edit, so now I'm stuttering. She incorporates creative arts therapy for people that are, let's say, you are creative and you're an artist and you don't feel like traditional therapy can reach you. She
Mhm.
incorporates
Yeah.
any type of model that you resonate with into your therapy. She's very gifted in that way. She also specializes in CBT and motivational interviewing. And then I have
Mhm.
another clinician, Kristina Steinberg, who only does RTM, which is the reconsolidation of traumatic memories. And it's short term, high impact type of therapy, which would be if like EMDR didn't work for you, but you
Mhm.
were still having a reaction to something. All of these
Mhm.
particular individuals have had their own practice or still currently have their own practice. And when they collaborate with Root and Rise as a specialist, which
Mhm.
means that they only see the people that would fall into that particular slice of what they work on. And so that is kind of a different model and a different approach when it comes to group practices. Group practices are typically and standard. The setup is there's someone that's the higher qualified clinician at the top who's possibly the co-founder or owner, and then you have lesser qualified, lesser experienced clinicians underneath who are getting paid a fraction of what the session costs, and
Mhm.
they're basically having their, this is not to, I'm not trying to poo-poo on anybody else's practice, but this is typically the model
Yeah.
where
Have a
they have,
hierarchy.
yeah, there's a hierarchy, and
Mhm.
there's sometimes they get training, sometimes they don't, sometimes they get supervision, sometimes they don't. There's no rule of thumb on that. And they are pumped with whoever calls, right? So the
Mhm.
person that you're matched with doesn't necessarily have the skills yet to treat you, but is treating you with supervision, perhaps, or without. And so that's kind of dicey, in my opinion,
Mhm.
to handle mental health like that. And that is a traditional model. And that is
Yeah.
typically what we find. And then there's other models that we see are more popular now since COVID, where you can pay nothing or you could pay a small amount and you're online, and it's a lottery of who you get or who you get
Mhm.
paired with, whoever has an opening for that time, and then that's who you work with until whatever time. I just have so many individuals that have come to me that have hated those models, that haven't felt that those
Mhm.
therapy practices were effective, that they didn't connect with people, that they went through 4 or 5 or more clinicians and never felt there was a rapport. So I went into developing this understanding that there's a deficit that's in our mental health system. There's a lot of deficits. If I wanted
Yes.
to get super
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
into that now, another
Yeah.
show. So so when
Totally.
it comes to the way that the models are, I understood that we had to what I would have preferred to do is exactly what I'm doing now, where I'm
Mhm.
able to rely on other well-skilled clinicians. I know that they're going to provide good work. I know that they're going to treat their clients exactly as they need to be and can reach their goals with their help and can change the landscape of what therapy looks like. Now that dovetails into Limitless. And so even those clinicians have access to everything that's here and
Mhm.
everything that their clients might want to use. And then it just parlays from there. So that's kind of how Root and Rise was
Okay.
developed.
I like it. And it's so how is it managing these two businesses? You have different partners with you? Like there's a group of you managing Limitless, right?
Just me.
Just you.
It's
Okay.
it's just me, and so basically whoever wants to collaborate with us can. They just have to go through a screening process
Okay.
to make sure that they're, an ethical
Yeah.
and business with integrity if we
Yeah.
haven't already worked with them directly. So I'm the only owner on that side, and I oversee who collaborates and how that gets rolled out. But
Mhm.
what's important to mention is that everybody who is collaborating, they run their business, they handle their billing, they handle
Okay.
how they're going to, disseminate their services. And however large or small your business is your business,
Mhm.
literally and figuratively.
Mhm.
Root and Rise co-founder is Julie Stark. It's my best
Okay.
friend from grad school. So I
Mhm.
talked her into doing this with me. So
Yeah.
we both merged our private practices into Root and Rise, brought
Okay.
our clients over.
Okay.
Christina Scheinberg is still maintaining her private practice, but collaborates with us and does RTM solely for the practice. And I have another clinician that's currently collecting clinical hours and is getting free supervision and training with us.
Amazing. Launching other practitioners under this model is
Mm-hmm.
like legacy making, right? And being able to do a practicum in that kind of setup versus some of the others that you described is a real game changer in the industry, I would assume. Which is pretty
It
awesome.
can be. It's we are a boutique practice. We are self-pay. We have the freedom of not being restricted by insurances and restricted
Mm,
by what they dictate. So we have
mm,
a lot of creative freedom in how we train, how we provide services, how long we treat someone for, the length of time we want to see them. Uh, we
mhm,
get to we get to really curate each session the way that it should always be when it comes to your mental health. And Julie even coined a term called mental wealth care instead of mental health care,
mm,
because mental wealth should be looked at the same way we look at other things that we invest in our lives. And
yeah,
oftentimes it's not. It's the last thing that gets addressed.
yeah, yeah. So how has the community responded to this practice and these two models? Like you mentioned that you're on an island, and so you're known, you have an established portfolio, but now, you're welcoming in more audience, for lack of a better term, more clients.
Yes,
And so
yes,
how's that
yes.
been?
So Root and Rise is licensed in 4 states. We're licensed in Florida, Connecticut,
Okay.
Massachusetts, and New York. Limitless, because it's primarily other holistic services are allowed and permitted to be global. And so we do have clients all over the world, all over the
Mhm.
country. Most of my providers have online services. When
Mhm.
people come to visit New York and Connecticut, the way that I'm positioned in New York is I'm on an island that faces Connecticut. So
Okay.
there's a boat that you might hear honking behind me that
Yeah.
is going back and forth to Connecticut. So people that come here from Connecticut can visit for the day. People from New York, are also able to come here whenever they want to. And
Okay.
we have people that come in from out of state. So
Yeah.
not just Connecticut, but also Jersey, Pennsylvania, and wherever is in driving distance. But most of my providers, like I said, do provide online services. And
Mhm.
we are planning to expand into other states. I'd like Limitless to be a household name.
Okay. Okay. So like setting up more um,
Yeah,
physical
because there's
locations.
Yeah, there's plenty of holistic
Mm.
providers in other states.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not unique to New York.
Yeah.
What's unique to New York is Limitless for now, but
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to go into other areas that have amazing clinicians and great
Yeah.
services that aren't widely known or found. And
Yeah.
I want to be able to put people on the map and
Yes.
say like this is how you can find what you need.
Yes. Yeah, that's beautiful. Because you're supporting others And somebody has to lead that, right? And so you're going to be that person who's just going to do the heavy
Yeah,
lifting
why not?
and get the things. So how, like, is this something that just feels natural to you? Are you being confronted in certain ways as you rise in your leadership with this beautiful vision?
Mia, I don't know how much time we have left, but
We'll just keep
I
going until we stop.
I'll say I have always had a propensity to go against the grain, and
Mm,
I enjoy rocking the boat. So
mhm,
I think it's, it's necessary for us to push the boundaries to see how much we can develop. And once you incorporate a holistic model, I feel, and you can work on so many different layers of someone. It's not just your mental layer. There's a physical layer, there's a spiritual layer, there's,
mhm.
even a soul layer.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to the kind of work that I enjoy, I think developing individuals is something that I love. And
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I think it's fun to work with people. I think it's awesome to watch people grow and develop and find their voice and find their passion. And I think that's what I find the most rewarding in my work individually with clients is just watching them evolve. And so it's not that much different for business owners. You remember getting into business in the beginning. I remember feeling insecure, but
Mhm,
I fake it until you make it. I
mhm.
really just that's the way to go. If you can do anything with conviction, you're good at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this is the
So
thing, like believe it before it is and stay curious about what could happen,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
And it seems like you've truly become and fully embodied the vision that you described, which is so beautiful. I love putting people on stage versus the map. I use the word stage, but that same thing because it's easier together. And people love to follow a good leader that is like-minded, right? And so it's great to have people willing to go and take that role and see where they can go. Now you've got a good model. Is there fine tuning that you've had to do and adjustments? Like how
Yeah,
old is Limitless?
we are 1 year.
Ah, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we're
Beautiful.
1 year. We
Mhm.
I guess our 1 year is technically going to be December, but I
Okay.
have had this particular space since September of last year.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been a year, but Limitless on stage, as you said, it'll be in December,
Okay.
for 1 year. I would say, what I would love to see is people, and this is kind of what I've already seen with the people that want to collaborate, is come in and have fun. Come in,
Mhm.
have fun, help others. There's a lot of reward in being able to help others. And there's a lot of reward in collaborating with others because I feel like if you can maintain learning and being willing to absorb like a sponge as you go through this,
Yeah.
you can only benefit from that.
Yeah.
You can only benefit from that. And I've always enjoyed developing people, like I said earlier,
Mhm.
but I have experience all over the place as far as being in the corporate world, being in the private sector, and just watching how to influence people in a positive way and help people find their own confidence has, you know, kind of always been part of how I've managed people, how I've trained teams, how I've developed businesses for others. And my best friend Julie, the co-founder of Root and Rise, has been pushing me for a long time to just develop my own business, create the model so that you have it as
Mhm.
your own and stop going into everybody else's businesses and fine tuning theirs for them.
Okay. Okay.
So that's kind of another reason why Limitless was born.
Okay. So I'm going to share one of my commercial jingles that I love because now you've said it a couple of times. You love developing other people, and through doing so, you get to develop yourself. And so my commercial jingle is our business is the playground for our soul, right? Where we get to really expand ourselves and test. And I just really admire and respect you taking on a role like this because it is a lot of responsibility. And sometimes we tend to shy away from that because there's like
Yeah. So the fine
people,
tuning that you were
yeah,
asking about before,
yeah,
I would say there has been a small percentage of individuals who have I think presented like they've wanted to collaborate
sure.
and then they didn't really want to collaborate and
Yes.
it was a negative experience for the rest of the group to have these individuals. So I
Yeah.
think I think what's interesting, and I would like to, speak on this more sometime in the future, how women support other women
Hmm.
in business, and how that can be more of a frenemy
Hmm.
situation than a partnership, or even a friendly collaboration. And that has been the hardest lesson in the year that I have been in business, is
Hmm.
permitting enough space for someone to exit themselves, because they never really wanted to be part of the larger group of women who really, most, I would say 9 out of 10 individuals have helped other women in the practice be lifted up,
Yeah.
and every, like, what is it, rising tides lift all boats. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that has been the majority of the experience, but we've had a few duds here and there, and
Yeah.
that's been the hardest adjustment for me, because it's disappointing to see that someone would um bite their nose to spite their face type of
Hmm.
situation.
Well, and then, you know, looking after everybody when there is somebody like that in the group,
Stressful.
is stressful, and calls more on you, and maybe questions, what am I doing and how did I let this happen, whatever. But
Yeah.
it's part of the normal process too. And to the listeners, I want you to know that you don't have to hit it every time, and you need to kind of be tested in order to learn, to grow, to adjust, and even just to lead through. It's easy to lead when things are easy, right? But
Oh yeah, of course.
true leadership is in the poops
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
still
you're
coming
right.
through
Having to have those
successfully.
difficult conversations, having to set up
Yeah.
those difficult boundaries, even having to communicate things you would think is common sense. It's not.
Yeah,
So,
right?
you
Yeah.
you have to protect your herd. And
Yeah.
so those situations, they they forced me to have conversations with individuals that, have led to their exit, because it was toxic for the rest. And
Mhm.
so, in a very cordial and professional way, having to have those conversations it's challenging, but it's doable.
Mhm.
And the other challenge, I would say, is helping people understand what the concept is, has been challenging, because it doesn't exist yet. And
Yeah.
so the more awareness that we're able to bring to this, the better, because again,
Mhm.
we all want to be able to make a living, and we want to be able to spread our word and spread our wellness, and make sure people can access what it is that they might need, and know where to find us. And I'd
Yeah.
say that's really what's driven me to get on different shows and talk about
Mhm.
what it is that we do and who we are.
Yeah, to get the message out there.
Yeah.
Kristina, I think it's part of a bigger movement of particularly women coming together to link arms and create um, a leverage service together. I'm part of a membership that is a different option to employment assistance program, and offers a whole human approach to well-being. And again, bringing a bunch of coaches and professionals to the table to serve the different arenas of life, akin to the wheel of life. One, it's more fun to do business together. You can have a
Yeah.
bigger impact. You can share the responsibility, and you can really meet the needs of your client avatars in a deeper and higher value way. So as we kind of close out the conversation, like, what are you learning about yourself? And it seems like you're just so on fire for this and having fun and enjoying it. And are you liking the version of you that's coming out as part of this business journey?
Yes, I am. And also, I think it's challenged a lot of what I teach with my clients. I do a lot of law of attraction work, and
Okay.
I help people understand their own spiritual influence and how to create a reality that they enjoy and
Hmm.
love. And
Hmm.
so, what has been challenging from start to finish, because it's been a very expensive endeavor and
Yeah.
it's a lot to carry on a regular basis. Plus, you're maintaining me, I'm saying it as if I'm speaking about myself in the third person, but I'm maintaining multiple businesses to be able to keep this dream
Yeah.
alive. Something has to fund this, because, like
Yeah.
I said before, it's not necessarily a money making situation. It's more of a concept that can change people's lives. So,
Hmm.
um, I would say what has challenged me, not only the financial burden of it, but to remain positive in the
Hmm.
developmental stages, and to be patient, which is not, I'm not good at that, but I'm constantly trying to throw myself into neutral and be patient. And
Yeah.
that has been the biggest challenge of having to remind myself what I teach my clients. When you're developing,
Mhm.
there will be moments of pause that you have to take a breath and reposition and ground yourself and
Mhm.
wait for what's coming, because you don't get to determine the speed.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part.
Yeah. It is. And that is such a powerful message because in the coaching world, the internet's like, oh, overnight, da da da, go, 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 no problem. One post, viral, million
Scam.
dollars. Like I've been having coffee with a friend weekly for about 2 years. She's like, hey Mia, what's new? And I said, I'm a millionaire now. It happened since last week. I'm sending a helicopter with diamonds. Like
Diamonds. I love
it's
that.
this, the what's the pregnancy analogy? Like your incubation and your growth stage, you have to create safety and be okay to be uncomfortable in that until it starts to launch. And this is, Kristina, where the vision has to be bigger than the present, right? And you've cast that seed, you casted it earlier, but you want to kind of franchise this and make it as big as you can make it. And you need that on those hard days, and you need the people around you who can help you remember why you're doing it and eating soda crackers yet again.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
beautiful. So we're going to share this message through the podcast, and I just love what you're doing. I think it's so
Thank you.
beautiful and powerful, and I applaud and honor that you're taking the lead on something like this. It's a bold
Thank you,
thing
Mia.
to do and necessary, and
There
it's
have been sleepless nights, but we're getting through it.
right? But somebody's got to be that person. And so
Yeah.
you're the chosen one.
I'll accept the challenge. Thank you
You'll
so
accept
much
the
for having me
challenge.
on.
Yeah, yeah, my pleasure.